Good afternoon. I'm Beth Copeland with Georgia Christian Business Network, and we're putting God back in business. I'm so excited. Today is Take Charge Tuesday, and oh, do we have a treat for you today? We have an amazing individual just recently joined GCBN. In fact, our very newest member is Caili Payton, and she's out of Dallas, Texas, and you'll have to correct me on whether the Metroplex or where exactly you're located. But Kelly, are so excited to have you here today. Thank you for joining GCBN. We welcome you to the GCBN family. And in addition to that, I just want to just commend you on the opportunity that your husband is an entrepreneur, and now you just recently started this awesome business. And so we're looking forward to hearing from you. I want to give you an opportunity, as I do all of my guests on GCBN's Take Charge Tuesday Power Call, the opportunity to introduce yourself. We promoted you on paper, but from your heart, tell us who you are, what you do, and why it's important that we know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the introduction, Beth. I appreciate it. I'm just honored to be here. My name is Caili Payton. I'm in the Wichita Falls area, so I'm actually about 2 hours north of Dallas, but it is a
Okay.
quick to Dallas for me. It's pretty simple, to get there. But I originally started my career in teaching. I was an educator of early childhood. I taught first grade. And just due to, my calling and situations that were happening in my life, I had to leave the classroom and no idea where I was going or what I was going to do. And it led me to financial services. So now I have my own business in financial services. My business is EduPro Business Specialty Insurance Solutions. And so we take on businesses, we take on families, we help anybody and everybody when it comes to financial services and just making sure that they understand where they're at in life and where they could be and how they can protect themselves in the future. As well as businesses, I love helping businesses. We find different tailored solutions to service business owners in their benefits packages, retirement packages, and anything that involves business. So we just try to find a way to help everybody.
And I want to say thank you, first of all, because I have been in this a long time. And because we have Georgia Christian Business Network, we're putting God back in business. One of the things that I've had the opportunity to realize from numerous business owners that are part or have been a part of our network or currently part of GCBN family is the financial piece is a challenge. And I even raised my hand. The opportunity for what you provide is so necessary. So I can't wait for you to share more with us today. Tell us again, I love your title because you're talking about now, but you're also talking about the future. So the title of, again, repeat that.
So the title of my presentation is Empowering Your Business and Safeguarding Your Future.
Yeah, awesome. And so I'm going to let you walk us through how God has given it to you, and I'll interject opportunities where, I'm feeling led to ask you to expound on that, Father, or if I have a comment that God's given me that I want to chime in, but it's your flow. I'm ready to hear.
Perfect. So just to kind of give you a little bit of background of where even the name of EduPro came from, like I said, I was an educator. And so I feel like within the business, as Beth mentioned, financial side of business aspects is just difficult. And so it's more about the education. It's understanding all the different options that are out there, whether you're a small business owner, you are maybe middle or even a larger corporation. Many times you come across people that just want to sell you something. They want to sell you a benefit package. They want to get you a retirement plan for your employees, which is great. But at the end of the day, they really need to be educated on it. And so that's where the EduPro part of my business
Ah,
came from. And we're just work on and then specialty. So specialty insurance solutions. It's all about specialization. So even if you are a small business and you want to do more for your employees, because as business owners, we all want to do more for our employees, that we add value. they're helping us grow our business, so we have to add value to them. And how can we do that as an employee or as an employer? And so with that, we find different ways to tailor different benefits, to tailor the retirement planning, and even just helping understand what happens in a traumatic event. What happens if you were to unexpectedly lose a key employee, and
Mm.
how can you protect yourself from that? And I just had a conversation with my mom this morning about, it's very easy to put these things in place before you need them. But if you're not putting them in place until you
Mhm.
need them, sometimes it's almost impossible. And so I just really, focus on education. When I walk into the door, I make it very simple. I'm here to help you. Whether you decide to use me or not, I'm here to help you. And I want you to understand what options are available for you as a business owner.
You said something very key. I'm here to help you, regardless of whether or not you take advantage and utilize your services, the services that you offer. Your primary opportunity that I heard that resonates with my spirit is that we're in the business of serving. And as Christian business owners, as Christian entrepreneurs, that should be our number one objective, is service. And when we provide that service, and we believe from the standpoint that I have a service to provide that others need, it's easy about approaching our businesses. It's easy about sharing our businesses with others. And I think it makes it more plausible for people to say, yeah, maybe I need this, because the presentation, the transparency of it. I want to pause for a second, and I want to thank Carmen Caldwell for joining us here again, Bianca, for your support as always here over on the Zoom side of the house. And for those of you that are on the Facebook side of the house, we really want to thank you for joining us and taking part in the platform. If you have any questions, comments, please, for Caili, please put them out there. We'll communicate those to her, as well as equally for those that are actually watching the replay at some later time. But continue, please. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So excited to have you all here. This is just so much. This is fun. I love doing these. I love getting to talk and just network with everyone. So anyway, so when we go back into the businesses, a lot of the time small business owners feel defeated, because when you look at group plans for small business owners, they feel like the numbers are astronomical, and you're a small business and you're trying to make ends meet. And so how in the world am I going to add value to my employees, offer them something that will want them to stay with us? And so this is again where that specialty line comes into play, is I can actually help employees get health insurance or health coverage through individual plans as well. And so we
Okay.
really specialize. That's my big thing, is just finding that specialization to fit whatever your business is. And I feel like in business, that's so important, because again, it goes back to just educating and helping. So it's all about understanding that if you have that need or that desire to do more for your employees, that you are not stuck to the traditional mold that so many people feel like you're stuck in. Or a
Well,
lot of objections I get up front is, I can't afford it. We can make it, we'll make it happen. We find a way to make it happen, and for you to afford it and be happy with what you're offering your employees.
and understanding that your employees are your greatest asset, and being able to provide for them, and even exploring the opportunity, getting past the thought of I can't afford, that's something. I was in a meeting recently, and that we were trying to make a decision and take a vote on whether to do something at one rate, and saying that we have a desire to do it at another rate, but because of trends and what's happening next year is projected and this and that, if God gave you the opportunity and put it in your spirit, man, to me, the opportunity is to do it,
Yes.
because my faith is saying, and then allow, and I'm not saying making um frivolous or just uneducated without wisdom, but I'm saying let your faith prevail. if there's an opportunity that God is giving you the unction and he's placed it out there, to have faith in him that he's going to do it, and what you're saying is sometimes, and what I'm saying to what you said is sometimes people don't even explore the opportunity because they shy away. I can't afford that. I don't know. But if your desire is greater to provide for the employees, and listen, is what I want to say to that. Listen, just listen.
And build a relationship too. I feel like building
Yeah.
the relationships with even as that's something that I take pride in, is building the relationship, and on my side of it, listening to what you need, what are your needs, what's your goal, not just your goal today, but what's your vision from 10 years from now? How can we set up what we have now, and then as you grow or as things change, or as we had it a couple years ago, COVID hit, the unexpected hit, how does your business change, and then how can we build that relationship that's long term, so I can continue to service you in the way you need to be serviced and your employees.
Awesome. 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 And there's oftentimes unexpecteds that happen. And we have to make sure that we're safeguarding, putting measures in place for the unexpected, you know?
Absolutely. And that's another thing that that I love to do with them, is not just the health side and the group benefits, but we also specialize in the life insurance side. And so as employees, again, you look at group and you think, I have to pay a portion of those premiums. How am I going to do that as an employer? As an independent, and the way I can help with that is we can actually do independent plans for those employees. And what's beautiful about that, it does cost them a little bit more, but a lot of the times the companies I work with, they have younger employees. They're young and healthy. And so many times we forget that young and healthy can change in a snap. We never know what's going to happen when we wake up tomorrow. And so if we are setting ourselves up to be protected, not only are we protecting our family, but we're giving ourselves that peace of mind that if something happens to me and I were to lose my job because I had some crazy health condition come up, now I have that. And when we do those independent plans for those small businesses, that is a really, really huge piece, because it provides so much peace of mind. Even if those employees leave that company because a better opportunity comes, now they're covered. Now they have it
Wow.
with
Wow.
them.
Because it's following
Yes.
the employee.
Yes.
Awesome. That
Group.
is amazing. And you're still making an impact on that person's life that is no longer with you because you opened that opportunity.
And educate.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is very, very good. So let me ask you something that you said in your title, empowering your business. Um, Break that down a little bit for me. And I see opportunities there, but I just want you to break it down some for me.
So going back to just being able to add value to your business and empowering your business, as what I do, I have multiple ways that I can help businesses. For example, right now, the big thing that we keep hearing about as business owners, I think we get phone calls like 10 times a day about it, is the employee retention tax credit. It's huge right now in the businesses. It's a relief that we had, that the government has given back from COVID days. And so many people feel like it's a scam. It's not a scam. But those are the types of services that I put within my business to help other business owners, is just allow them to understand that there are things out there that they can take advantage of, that people are calling you feeling like it's not real, that's actually real. For example, that's one particular thing, but that particular credit has the opportunity for employers to get anywhere from $1,000 to $26,000 back per employee, from the COVID years. So there's different things that fall into place with that. But as my business, we come in and we educate you, we go through the stipulations and see if it's something that would help you. And that money can be used for anything. It's similar to the PPP, but it's not a payback. You don't have to pay it. It's a loan, it's a grant. And so just finding those different ways to help businesses understand that there are the new things out there. They're different. There's all kinds of different tax credits all the time for business owners, even based on, like when we have different weather events or different things happen in the community, the government puts different, credits that can help business owners and continuing to keep their doors open. So that's one thing that I like to make sure that I offer as well. Not just do I do your benefits, but I'm going to be on the lookout to help you continue to keep your doors open and find those ways that will help your business in the long run.
And I love that. And so in lines with that, you're being a GCBN member now. Again, welcome to the family. That particular rebate or whatever you call it from the COVID days and I want to see if you'll promote that in the GCBN Facebook group, because initially I thought it was a scam. And I mean, not that I professing to be the brightest or whatever, but maybe other people are out there that, like me, thought it was. And so there may be some opportunity there that you might just walk through it to see if there's an opportunity that they might be eligible, if you will, for that opportunity. And I don't know what the qualifications are exactly, but from a technical standpoint, but if you care to share more, or if you just like to post that in our GCBN Facebook group, we'll make sure that it gets out there for people to be able to connect with you, to examine that opportunity, because that's like leaving money on the table. And I don't like to leave money on the table.
Especially
Personally.
in business, we need it. Yeah, I can kind of give you a little bit more details. I won't go too specific because it really varies upon each business and
Okay.
how their business changed. It is something that you have to get in before April 2024. They are cutting it off in April 2024. The way the process goes as far as working with me is I have a company that I use to help file the credits. They've been in business for 12 years. So they're not, like we talked about, this scam, not sure if it's real. They're not one of the fly by night companies that just came up because the credits existed and they wanted to, file all these and they get their portion of it. The company we use is actually a tax credit company that focuses on businesses. They help find different ways for business owners to utilize any type of tax credit that's out there, not just the ERC. With that being said, it's a very simple process. We just jump on a quick 30-minute Zoom call. We go through your business. We ask a couple questions about what your quarters looked like from 2019, 2020, 21, and then how your operations were affected by COVID. And then we have a simple form you fill out and we run some numbers and we just see if you would qualify. It's really, really simple. Totally worth it though, like you said, because it is money that's out there and you do not have to pay it back. Even if you had the PPP loan, you still, at one point in time, they were saying that if you had the PPP loan, you could not get the ERC, but they have changed that regulation. So now you can take advantage of it, even if you had that PPP. So there's a lot of information about it that's very detailed, but that's just kind of in some, and I will post some more about it. I can post it in the Facebook group.
Excellent. Excellent. Also, I want you to, and you follow your outline, and you can do this now or you can do it later. We have some more time to talk about the urgency of insurance as well.
Absolutely.
For empowering.
Yes. And so just having, whether it's for you as the owner or even your employees, it kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And yes, sometimes it's hard to crunch the numbers of your budget and to put out that extra premium that you may have to pay for the insurance. But at the end of the day, it's going to cover you. If you have an accident and you have to go to the doctor, that insurance is going to help you significantly compared to what paying out of pocket would have been. Paying out of pocket is what leads to people going into bankruptcy and all the horrible things that, come that escalate from that, as well as going back to the life insurance. There's so much out there when it comes to life insurance, especially now with social media. There's a lot of agents that are out promoting it. And so for my business, it's more about what's good for you. Depending on where you're at in life, depending on what your debt to income ratio is, determines what you need. Some people do not need a $500,000 life insurance policy. Sounds great, but not everybody needs that. You need what's ideal for you. And so just making the urgency to know that You need it because you never know what's going to happen. There's a lot that's built in those life insurance policies people are so unaware of, which is why I take part in the education. And there's what's called living benefits in them. So even though you have a life insurance policy, people say, well, what am I going to do with it when I die? Well, your family's going to benefit from it because how many times do we see a day a GoFundMe trying to raise funds for a funeral? If you have a life insurance policy in place, let's say you're 25 years old, you put it in place, you're looking at 25 or 30 bucks a month. It's very affordable. And it changes so much for your family if you were to pass unexpectedly. But on top of that, there's living benefits. So if you were to be diagnosed with cancer, if you had a heart attack, a stroke, some sort of critical illness came about, you can actually utilize that too. So it is much more than just passing. It's also while you're living, it helps you in situations where, say, you did come down and you were diagnosed with cancer. Now you have that policy that's going to help you pay for the chemo and the radiation and all the trips back and forth to the cancer hospital and not being able to work because you're sick. You can actually utilize money from that policy to help pay for that. Or if you know you have a history of cancer, heart attack, stroke, you can get a policy that's designated just for that. It's called critical illness.
Mhm.
Upon diagnosis, they pay out a cash lump sum. So imagine how much it would change your life. So if you're fighting this, the last thing you want to have to do is try to figure out how to keep your finances in place. How am I going to fight for my house if I'm fighting for cancer? And so having these types of things in place before it's too late will eliminate so much added stress that would come if you didn't have it in place.
And it's a win-win from my perspective. I've got it if I need it, but if I don't, I get the opportunity to transfer it over and leave my family in an opportunity. One of the things you talked about that I think is so awesome is the opportunity to have, and that you're talking about permanent insurance whole life. I'm assuming that has that opportunity where you can tap into it if you should get sick and you cannot do work, lack of work and things like that. And I just think it's good to do an evaluation. And the other thing is once you were talking about getting it early so that you're younger and it's cheaper, basically is the way I'll just say that. But the other opportunity, if you wait and then something happens, and you were kind of leading to that as well, you may not be able to get it and it's more expensive. I mean, you can always get it, but talk about the price, because you have diagnosis that at that point, should you have those, is going to be very costly, and so you're in a situation that you may have a terminal illness, and the detriment to that on your family, you got to walk through it, number one, and it could be long term and those type of things. I just think it's just a safeguard, like you said.
And it changes drastically you're looking at, if you did a whole life or even a term, depending on what like I said, it depends on where you're at in life. And that's one thing that people say, well, I don't want a term. Well, if you have a massive amount of debt that you owe right now, term may be best because you can get massive amounts in that and it's still able for you to be able to afford it. But with the difference in it is being able to get, $200,000 of coverage because you're healthy versus having those diagnoses. And now you can only get what we call the guaranteed issue that has a 2-year waiting period before it even pays out the full amount. It's a drastic difference. And I mean, just a testimony from people that I've worked with, we've sat down and we ran quotes and they wanted to think about it. And within 2 weeks later, they got a cancer diagnosis and we had to change every single bit of what they had going on. And so
Man.
Yeah, it was that type
I
of thing.
mean, but their delay of, had they signed 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's interesting. I understand that September is life insurance awareness month. And there's a site lifehappens.org, but that is so important. And I really feel like maybe there's an opportunity for us to talk about something. I'll talk about it later offline with you.
Awesome.
That because Bianca sharing that with me, we need to do something this month more than what we're doing right now. This is a great start, but I've got an idea and I will flesh that out later. But life happens. What you just described is, and I know other people. I had one friend that the brother died suddenly. He didn't have insurance, but what she said to me is, and then one of her niece was in a position to take care of everything, which prevented, she said, them from having to cry twice.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I heard somebody say that, cry twice. But to me, in my processing, and not judging that situation at all, because I just felt this was many years ago, but the opportunity that we have to make folks aware of the urgency and the importance of insurance is that you don't have to cry twice, okay? Because that 2-week window of actually already starting to have the conversation, I believe it was God led. This is me, I don't even know the situation, but sign the dotted line. Sometimes, I gave at our recent event a lead pencil for people to feel led anytime they want to. Just rub it and feel led and then sign, and I'm not making a mockery out of it, but we delay too often. If it comes in your spirit that I really need to check this, and it is something that maybe September's the month to do it on an annual basis. Review, what do I have in place? One of mine, I just recently had to work in the process of going through, is because one of my policies ended up, yeah, Carmen, I like that. Give a quick yes. Yeah, we talk about that a lot at in our NACWE, National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs. You're familiar with Heather Rosson's group, and that I lead the Atlanta chapter. But we talk about that. My steering team, and Carmen's on it, we talk about that quick yes is so urgent and important. But one of my policies, as I was saying, I found out at the time, I didn't even realize back then what I was doing, but and now this birthday puts me in a position where I'm going to be 65, God willing, in December. And so the policy actually had, and I forget, it was storing money. So it was kind of like a term, but also it was accumulated in dollars. And so after 20 years or 15 years or 15, 20 years holding the policy, I'm sorry, that Carmen, she messes me up all. She's like, child, 65 where? Flatter me, flatter me, flatter me. But so I haven't, I'm gonna get a check from it because that's it, but it also placed me in another position that I had to get another policy. I didn't have to, I had others, but I don't even know why I got all these policies later and earlier, but I'm thankful I did. And my family, Bianca, y'all should be thankful too.
That's
But
yeah, is that
yeah.
reviewing. So we're talking about empowering and safeguarding. So a review, it's so important that you review them, because my parents are in that situation right now. Theirs are expiring. And so we have to go in, and the agent that signed them up has already passed years ago. And so they're like,
Okay.
review it. I'm like, I got you, Mom. I got you. Cause that's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just making sure that you're always doing a review. I highly recommend a yearly review, because one, you don't we get the policy in the mail and then it goes in your junk drawer, right? You never even open it after you sign it up. I did that quick yes and then right? But so many, like, you may have put beneficiaries on there and maybe those changed. You may only have one beneficiary, and really you need three. You need a primary, if you're going to split it, if you have kids and you're going to split it amongst them, but you always want to have what's called a contingent beneficiary. Because what happens in a situation, like for example, I have a family of 5 that we have 5 kids total, 4 live with us. So if something were to happen to us and, heaven forbid, an accident, and all my kids are my beneficiaries, that what happens to it? And so always having that contingent, and then also allowing your beneficiaries to know. We actually tell people, tell your hairdresser, tell somebody that you see all the time, tell someone that maybe isn't your beneficiary, but that's going to remember you have a plan. So that way, whenever something happens and your family is going through the devastation and they're going through all of the emotions, somebody's there that has their head in the right mindset to remind them, hey, they had an insurance policy. Because a lot of the times, whenever you lose somebody close to you, you're not thinking about that insurance policy. You're just thinking, how are we going to do this? But if you have that person that's close enough to you, but distant enough that would remember that, they can remind the family. So that's something we highly recommend, but also doing those reviews, yearly reviews, just to make sure who your beneficiaries are, that the company hasn't changed, because there are times that the names of the company change, still have the same benefits, but just keeping up with what you have, so that way know what to do whenever it's time to use it.
Wow, that is, I like Carmen's point. She says that's important. I need to do a review. And she said, this is such good wisdom. And it really, really is. And something that you said to me, to all of us, is about telling someone that's not so close to the situation. The last time Jessica, my daughter that lives out in Dallas there, when I had the opportunity to meet you, I was visiting her then. She came in and, well, she came in for God Golfing Girls and some other stuff, but we were looking at some things with my husband, and like advanced directives and things like that. And they had to change it from me to her because I told him, I said, if something happens to you, you're going to wake up on whatever the best opportunity they can keep you breathing. You're going to be on it if it's me. And he said, so it's not going to be you then. I'm going to have to choose Jessica. And she said she could do it. She didn't want to do it the way he was talking about that it had to be done, but she'd do it. You want to make sure that you have things in place for people that are going to be more sensible. I mean, I to a lot of people probably, handle things professional, whatever, but who's to say emotions take over when things, even if you say, and I don't know how you can say, but I hear people say this often, like even my dad or my mom, in their last days, well, at least you had time to prepare for them passing away. Mm-hmm. That is not the thing to say, because I didn't have time, even though they both were, with illnesses that were, taking them toll on their bodies and such. And it was imminent, as it is for all of us, if you would think of it from the right perspective, but closer to, because of the illness that progressed in both of them. But you still emotionally are I was distraught, let me put it like that. And so the urgency of making certain that you have people, not that they won't grieve with you and for you, but they still are able to maintain an emotional stance that is wise and not caught up in the emotions, and that can understand what's going on with you, so that they can be that source of strength for you and helping you to make wise decisions. That's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
I always say too, there's a fly, sorry. I always say that, you don't have to tell them the details of the policy. Just tell them you have a policy and the company name. That's all they need. And you can find it from there. So that's,
excellent. Excellent. That is sufficient. Yeah, for sure. I love that. What other tidbits do you have for us today? This is awesome.
A little bit. So the other thing that we focus on when we're doing with business owners and families is going to be retirement. So within the retirement sector, we do a lot of different things. A lot of times, this kind of goes back to that the ERC credit. People are unaware of it. People leave jobs all the time, especially if you maybe left your job to go become a business owner or start your own business or an entrepreneur. You leave it behind that 401k. So we do a lot with helping families in 401ks. They think if it's at their old employer that it's fine. But I always make the joke that you wouldn't leave money with your ex. So why would you leave money with your ex employer? Or you take your pens, your pencils, and your personal belongings. Why do you not take your money with you? And so people
Oh,
get confused on is they get the opportunity, they send them a letter stating, hey, here are your options with your 401 since you left your employer. But they most of the time people will say, okay, well, I'll cash it out. Well, when you cash it out, you're looking at possibly 20%. That's like being very conservative. 20% in taxes and fees that you're going to pay on that money. So what we do is we come in and we help you look at your options. We run illustrations and then we do what's called a rollover. People do not understand that when you leave an employer, you have the opportunity to take that money and roll it. When you roll that money over, there's not a fee associated with it. You're not taxed, you're not penalized. You're moving it from one entity to another entity. The accounts that we used are safeguarded. So when you put the money in the account, for example, your 401k is tied to the stock market. Your stock market goes up, your money goes up, stock market goes down, your money goes down. The types of accounts that we use are called indexed. So they're indexed to the market, meaning when the stock market goes up, your money goes up. But when the stock market goes down, it's like a big airbag that comes out and protects. So it's easy.
mhm.
I have all these little
I
analogies.
love it. I love the way you come up with this stuff, but that is awesome. Okay. Awesome.
Continue to protect it. So when everyone's, going through all of these fears because they've lost so much money in the market that year, you're not panicking because you're getting to stay at the place you were at before. So when the market goes back up, now your money just keeps continuing to grow. So every time that people are losing, you're over there like, hey, I'm good because I didn't lose
I'm
any.
cool. Yeah.
So that's the types of things we do with retirement as far as if you left an employer. The other thing, maybe you're still with your employer, but you're 59 and a half. So 59 and a half is getting close to that retirement age. That gives you the option to move your money as well. You have access to that money at 59 and a half. So you can
Mhm.
take that and do the same thing, put it in an account that protects it and grows it. And so now you can hold on to everything you have. Whereas being in the 401s, not that they're bad necessarily. I don't like to talk bad about them, but at 59 and a half, you're looking at, okay, I want to retire in 5 years or possibly 10 years. How much money am I going to have to live on? What happens if the stocks crash? Am I going to lose 50% of my 401k like I did back in 2008 type situations? So we do the same thing. We can roll it, we protect it. If the market crashes, you get to stay with that balance. As the market grows, you get to continue to grow. So those are ways that we help individuals. Businesses, we have the same opportunity of setting up accounts the same way. We can set them up individually for people where they just do a monthly contribution, just like they would their 401. The business can elect to contribute to it if they would like, but they don't have to. So there's multiple ways that they can do different options, but still offer their employees some sort of retirement plan as well.
I love it. I love it. And I always, and the wisdom, like Carmen made the comment that this is just good wisdom that you share. I didn't have a lot of that. I later, I've gone through a couple of financial advisors, and you got a whole gamut of that. And I would classify you as a strong financial advisor, and that's, I know you titled yourself a little bit differently, but that's what I hear. And that's what people need. And especially entrepreneurs. We just sometimes start because we've got that vision and we want to do the vision of what God told us to do, that we heard from God. And that's urgent, but that's why it's so important to connect with, this is still the year of the double, uniquely unified with those that God has assigned to us in order that we may be able to glean things that we're not the expert knowledge in, and I'm speaking for me, these are things that what Caili's sharing with you are things that I learned the hard way, and even some nuggets that you gave to me today that I was gleaning. I love the way you frame it. It's so important. And I'm so moved by it that I really want to make sure this is the 12th of September that we have an opportunity to get it out there more and make people more aware of it, because some of the things I'm on a board for homelessness, to end homelessness for the Family Promise of Gwinnett. And some of the reasons that people fall into homelessness is not because they were lazy or mishandled their funds, but life happens, like that website Bianca gave me, lifehappens.org. Yes, it does. And so the opportunity is when life is happening on the up, you want to do those things. And I love the word that you've chosen, to safeguard the opportunities. Invest, but you want to invest wisely so that there's opportunities that when the market fluctuates as it does, and oh, Jesus, I've been out there in the midst of that. It wasn't pretty sometimes. I didn't know what I was doing, and and then I'd go too tight because I didn't want what happened the last time to happen this time. And that was not really I was leaving money on the table. We don't need to leave money on the table. And so the opportunity is that making sure that you have someone that's a business knowledge expert that is looking out for you, that is sharing with you, that is being wise for you, just like that person that you choose when things happen that are devastating for you. Absolutely. That you've chosen already an opportunity to be safeguarded in those situations. This has been so wonderful.
I've enjoyed it. I love
it. Awesome. This is really, really good. Thank you for just sharing all of these wonderful nuggets with us today. Again, I thank you for joining Georgia Christian Business Network and undergirding our opportunity to put God back in business is so important. We're valued by your opportunity to be a part of the GCBN family. I like what Carmen's saying here. Am I right in assuming that Caili can work with people outside of Texas? I know some things that are state specific.
Correct. So I am licensed in several states, and I can get licensed in a state overnight. So
okay.
Licensed in your state, then I can get that license. Because I have a residential license in Texas, I have the availability to be licensed anywhere.
Awesome. And so what we'll do, if I'm sure Bianca's posted your contact information over on the Facebook side of the house, and you can jot it here real quick for Carmen as well. I'd appreciate that. I have some little housekeeping stuff to do here to talk about what's next this week on Georgia Christian Business Network. Tomorrow on our Wellness Wednesday platform, the Fantastic Four, we're back again, and we're talking about the path of love, the attributes of love. And this is one of my favorite topics. And people may say it's touchy feeling, but love is so powerful. And I can just say it, God is love, okay? But we're talking about the practical application, the path of love, and the importance and the urgency of embracing love as an important ingredient for business success. So the path of love, and Pamela Bridgman Bartell, Jessica Banner, and Christine Oswald will join me on the Wellness Wednesday platform tomorrow at noon. We would love to have you join us. Last week was amazing conversation. And then also we have an opportunity for our Monday morning prayer. Please join us. We're there, rain, snow, or shine. We had a wonderful session. Carmen, you were out there with us on Monday too. Yeah, we just love to pray because why? There's power in your prayer. There's breakthrough in your prayer. We've got to be consistent in prayer. It's so urgent that God said for us to pray without ceasing. And I said to people this week on my Facebook page, I did a a meme and just said, if you ever wonder if prayer works or God is answering prayer or God's in, who he say he is, then my answer is a resounding yes, yes. And sometimes it just takes someone that to say that God did this through prayer, to encourage you to pray. So let me be that person. I want to encourage you to keep praying regardless of what it looks like. So join us for Monday morning prayer. And on Take Charge Tuesday next week, we have Manifa Gruber. She's the founder and CEO of Within Your Reach. So I'm so excited. She's going to talk about Eagle Vision on next week. Please join us here. She's amazing. Just like today, we have powerful GCBN members. She's also a GCBN member that take the podcast weekly to empower your business. And we follow that quickly with our Wellness Wednesday podcast to help people to know that in order to operate in business, not only do you need to have that business acumen, but you also need to understand the impact of emotional and mental stability to being successful in business. I really, really want to say thank you all for joining us today. Caili, I got a Callie on our team and I've got a Caili. So forgive me for back and forth here. And yours is spelled with a C-A-I, and hers is C-A-I-L-L-I-E. So I apologize for that, Caili. But why don't you give us some last words of wisdom to leave on?
Absolutely. Thank you. But thank you so much for this opportunity and just having me on here today. It's just been, like I said, it's a wonderful blessing and I just love to be a part of this. But just like, I just want to piggyback on what Beth said. If you have it in your mind, if it crossed through your mind and your thoughts, then it's probably time that you need to act upon it. And so God put it there for a reason. Act upon it. Write it down. Maybe you don't have to do it right then, but write it down, reflect on it, pray about it, just act upon it. So if it's for your business and you're looking for those benefits and you want to do better for your employees, then it's probably time. If it's your life insurance policies, you don't have it, it's probably time.
I love it. And this is your reminder. We're going to put some things right out in the GCBN Facebook group, and we'll share those out for you. It's so important, listen, that understand that God has a plan and we're a part of his plan, but we have to do our part. And when you hear the truth, it's the truth that will set you free when you operate in the truth, is what I like to say, to extend that out a little bit. And as Carmen reminded us, it's so important for that quick yes. Again, Caili, we are so excited to have you as a part of the family and bringing us these nuggets today. I want to ask those that are listening today over on the Facebook side of the house, and also those that are listening to the replay, great opportunity for you to get connected to success. Visit our website, gcbnetwork.com. We're putting God back in business and we need your help. Go out, look for an opportunity to join an upcoming session in person or online. Wonderful opportunity for you to also, while you're out there, join us as a member, our GCBN sponsor. We're focused, determined, and intentional to put God back in business, but we need your help. Thanks again, Caili. Bye-bye. Carmen, it's good to see you, my friend. Take care. Blessings to all. Bye-bye now.